Picture this. A dedicated teacher at Oxbridge Academy, Sarah Matthews, arrives before sunrise every day in her aging sedan. As a single mother of 3 who lost her husband in military service, she pours her heart into educating young minds, staying late to help struggling students, using her lunch breaks for free tutoring and making every moment count. But what she didn't know was that one observant student, Barron, had been watching her quiet sacrifices all along. In this extraordinary tale of recognition and gratitude, you'll witness how a simple act of kindness transformed into something magical. From the moment Barron spotted Mrs. Matthews' car breaking down in the scorching Florida heat to the incredible surprise that brought an entire school community together, this story will touch your heart and remind you that sometimes the most profound impact comes from those who expect nothing in return. Don't miss a single moment of this heartwarming journey that proves kindness never goes unnoticed forever. Stay until the end to discover how one student's vision sparked a movement that reached far beyond the walls of Oxbridge Academy. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to join our community of storytellers celebrating the unsung heroes who make our world a better place, one selfless act at a time. Together, let's spread the message that gratitude has the power to transform lives in ways we never imagined. Sarah Matthews isn't just another face in the hallways of Oxbridge Academy. She's the very foundation that holds countless student dreams together. Her classroom, room 237, has become more than just 4 walls with desks. It's transformed into a haven where struggling students find hope, understanding, and a path forward. When the final bell rings and most teachers head home, Sarah's day is far from over. You'll find her there, surrounded by students who need extra help with complex equations or life's tougher calculations. Without a second thought about overtime pay, she dedicates her lunch breaks to helping students whose families can't stretch their budgets for private tutoring. Her weathered sedan, parked in the far corner of the teacher's lot, has become her second office. The passenger seat disappears under stacks of homework to grade, while the back seat holds care packages she quietly prepares for students she knows are going through tough times at home. As the sun sets and the parking lot empties, the soft glow from her car's interior light reveals her dedication, grading papers until the janitor's evening rounds remind her it's time to head home. But it's not just about the math. Sarah has an uncanny ability to spot when a student's struggle with fractions is really about their parents' divorce, or when difficulty with geometry masks deeper anxieties about fitting in. She's the teacher who remembers every student's birthday, keeps granola bars in her desk for those who skip breakfast, and somehow finds time to attend every school event, cheering from the sidelines for her students' successes, both big and small. Barron isn't your typical high school student at Oxbridge Academy. While his peers rush to their luxury cars or busy themselves with after-school activities, Barron's attention is drawn to the quiet dedication that unfolds in room 237. Day after day, he notices Mrs. Matthews staying well past the final bell, her silhouette visible through the classroom window as she works tirelessly with students who need extra help. From his usual spot in the courtyard where he waits for his ride, Barron observes the small acts of kindness that others seem to miss. He sees how Mrs. Matthews shares her lunch with students who forget theirs, how she spends her own money on extra supplies, and how she never turns away a student in need, even when she's visibly exhausted. Her dedication becomes more apparent as he watches her grade papers in her car during her son's football practice, using the dashboard as a makeshift desk under the dim parking lot lights. The breaking point comes on a sweltering Florida afternoon when Barron witnesses a scene that will change everything. Mrs. Matthews's aging sedan, a faded blue relic that's seen better days, sits stranded in the school parking lot, steam billowing. From under the hood, the scorching sun beats down mercilessly as she waits for hours for a tow truck that seems to never arrive. Despite the heat, she maintains her composure, using the time to grade papers spread across her car's hood, occasionally wiping sweat from her brow with the sleeve of her cardigan. What strikes Barron most isn't just the broken-down car or the long wait. It's Mrs. Matthews's resilience. Even in this moment of personal difficulty, she takes time to encourage students who pass by, asking about their days and offering advice about upcoming tests. As the sun begins to set and the tow truck finally arrives, Barron watches her thank the driver with the same warmth she shows her students, despite having waited for hours in the heat. It's this moment that crystallizes everything for him. The daily struggles she faces, the quiet dignity with which she handles them, and the unwavering dedication to her students that never falters, even in her most challenging moments. In the moment of profound inspiration, Barron Trump couldn't shake the image of Mrs. Matthews struggling with her broken-down car. That evening, during a family dinner at their luxurious home, he pushed his plate aside and faced his parents with determination burning in his eyes. "We need to do something extraordinary," he declared, his voice trembling with emotion. "Mrs. Matthews deserves more than daily car troubles and constant worry." His father, intrigued by his son's passion, leaned forward as Barron unveiled his ambitious plan. The next day, reaching out to his extensive network, he contacted Elite Motors, a prestigious local dealership. The owner, moved by the story of the dedicated teacher, offered a stunning silver SUV at a significantly reduced price, a gesture that would transform one teacher's life forever. Word of Barron's initiative spread through Oxbridge Academy like wildfire. Students emptied their piggy banks, teachers contributed portions of their salaries, and parents wrote generous checks. Even the cafeteria staff organized a special lunch fundraiser. What began as one student's vision blossomed into a school-wide movement, proving that gratitude, when shared, multiplies beyond measure. The halls buzzed with excitement as donation envelopes piled up in the main office, each containing not just money, but heartfelt notes expressing appreciation for their beloved teacher. As the contributions flowed in, Barron realized they weren't just raising funds for a car. They were weaving together countless threads of gratitude into a tapestry of community love. Every dollar represented a story, a moment where Mrs. Matthews had made a difference in someone's life. The project had taken on a life of its own, transforming from a simple gift into a powerful statement about the value of those who dedicate their lives to shaping young minds. The energy at Oxbridge Academy crackles with anticipation on this seemingly ordinary Friday morning. Students file into the auditorium, their excited whispers filling the air with an electric buzz that goes unnoticed by Sarah Matthews. She sits in her customary spot near the back, red pen in hand, taking advantage of the assembly time to grade the stack of math tests from her morning classes. Every few moments, she glances up to ensure her students maintain proper behavior, completely unaware that she's the reason for the barely contained excitement around her. The stage lights dim, and Barron Trump emerges from behind the curtain, his hands trembling slightly as he grips his note cards. The usual chatter dies down as he approaches the microphone, and Sarah looks up from her grading, curious about what this quiet, observant student might have to say. The headmaster's introduction echoes through the speakers, announcing that today's assembly isn't about academic achievements or school announcements, but about celebrating someone special in their community. As Barron begins to speak, his voice steady despite his nerves, Sarah's red pen freezes mid-mark. "There's someone at this school who deserves recognition," he says. "Someone who makes this place better every single day." The atmosphere in the UI auditorium shifts palpably as hundreds of students and staff members turn their attention to their beloved math teacher, who still hasn't realized that Barron's words are meant for her. The presentation unfolds with touching testimonials from students past and present, sharing stories of how Mrs. Matthews' dedication changed their lives, not just their understanding of mathematics. Through the rising emotion in the room, Sarah remains rooted to her seat, her hands beginning to tremble as the reality of the moment washes over her. The stack of ungraded papers slips forgotten from her lap as she watches the faces of her students, her colleagues, and her community come together in a celebration of gratitude that she never saw coming. The double doors of the auditorium swing, open dramatically, revealing a stunning silver SUV that gleams under the stage lights. A massive banner stretches above it, adorned with colorful letters spelling out, "Thank you, Mrs. Matthews," in the school's colors. The entire room holds its breath as Sarah Matthews, who has been sitting quietly in her usual spot, finally comprehends what's unfolding before her eyes. Her legs turn to jelly, and she has to grip the edge of her chair to steady herself. The weight of this moment, this incredible gesture of gratitude, crashes over her like a wave. As she slowly rises, supported by the gentle hand of a nearby colleague, tears begin streaming down her face, leaving glistening trails on her cheeks. Her hands, which have graded countless papers and guided so many students through difficult equations, tremble uncontrollably as Barron approaches with the keys. The silver SUV stands as a beacon of hope and appreciation, its pristine surface reflecting the stage lights and casting a warm glow throughout the auditorium. Sarah's fingers close around the cool metal of the keys, and a sob catches in her throat. This isn't just transportation, it's a tangible symbol of every early morning, every lunch break spent tutoring, every late evening grading papers in her old car. The magnitude of the moment overwhelms her as she realizes that all her quiet sacrifices, all her dedication, had not gone unnoticed after all. The thunderous applause that follows seems distant to her ears as she stands there, clutching the keys to her chest, her vision blurred by tears of joy and gratitude. In this moment, surrounded by the love and appreciation of her school community, Sarah Matthews isn't just a teacher. She's the heart of Oxbridge Academy, finally receiving the recognition she never sought, but so deeply deserves. Sarah Matthews stands at the podium, her voice trembling with raw emotion as she faces the sea of faces before her. The microphone captures every quiver in her words as she shares her deepest truth about teaching. Teaching isn't just about equations and textbooks, she begins, dabbing at her eyes. It's about nurturing souls and building dreams, one student at a time. Her voice grows stronger as she speaks about John, her late husband, who served in the military. John always believed that service to others was life's greatest calling. He taught our children that lesson through his sacrifice, and I try to honor his memory every day in my classroom. She pauses, gathering strength as memories wash over her. Looking at her 3 children in the audience, Sarah's face brightens. Despite her tears, "My kids, they're my inspiration. They watch me grade papers late into the night. They understand when I stay late to help a struggling student, and they never complain when we have to make sacrifices." Her voice breaks with emotion. And now this incredible gift. It's not just a car. It's hope. It's mornings without anxiety about breaking down on the way to school. It's being able to drive my daughter to her violin lessons without worry. It's dignity restored through your kindness. The auditorium falls silent, hanging on her every word as she concludes, "This gesture, it doesn't just change my life. It transforms our daily struggles into moments of joy. It shows my children that when you pour your heart into serving others, The world sometimes has a beautiful way of serving you back. The assembly hall at Oxbridge Academy transforms into a living testament of gratitude, with waves of students approaching Mrs. Matthews with heartfelt stories. One young man, now studying engineering, shares how her after-school math sessions gave him the confidence to pursue his dreams. A shy freshman reveals how Mrs. Matthews' patient explanations helped her overcome not just algebra, but her fear of speaking up in class. Through tears and smiles, students form a line to share their moments of triumph. A senior holds up her college acceptance letter, declaring that without Mrs. Matthews' unwavering support through countless lunch breaks and study sessions, she wouldn't be heading to medical school. The most touching moment comes when a letter arrives from a former student, now teaching mathematics at a prestigious university, who credits Mrs. Matthews for showing him that teaching isn't just about equations. It's about believing in someone when they don't believe in themselves. As the stories continue to pour in, the impact of Mrs. Matthews' dedication becomes crystal clear. Her influence extends far beyond the classroom walls, creating a ripple effect that touches not just her current students, but generations to come. Each testimony adds another layer to the profound realization that one teacher's commitment to going above and beyond has sparked a chain reaction of success, inspiration, and achievement that will continue to resonate through time. The celebration becomes more than just about a new car. It evolves into a powerful reminder that true education isn't measured in test scores, but in the lives transformed by a teacher who never gave up on her students, even when they were ready to give up on themselves. Sarah Matthews sits behind the wheel of her gleaming silver SUV, her hands resting gently on the pristine steering wheel. The familiar anxiety of wondering if her car would start each morning melts away as the engine purrs to life with a gentle touch. This moment represents more than just a new vehicle. It's a testament to years of dedication finally being recognized. Her 3 children scramble through the spacious interior, their excitement filling the car with joyful chatter. "Mom, look at this!" her youngest exclaims, discovering the backup camera. Her teenage son fiddles with the modern stereo system, while her eldest daughter marvels at the heated seats, a luxury they never imagined having. The new car smell mingles with their happiness, creating a moment Sarah wishes she could bottle, if forever. As she adjusts the rearview mirror, Sarah catches a glimpse of her own reflection and barely recognizes the woman looking back. Not because she looks different, but because she feels different. Gone is the weight of worry about breaking down on the way to school or missing her children's activities due to car troubles. In its place is a profound sense of validation, a tangible reminder that her countless hours of dedication to her students haven't gone unnoticed. The smooth drive home feels almost surreal compared to the rattling journey she's grown accustomed to over the years. Each quiet moment in this new vehicle represents the hundreds of lunch breaks spent tutoring, the early mornings preparing lessons, and the late evenings grading papers. As her children continue exploring every feature with unbridled joy, Sarah realizes that this gift isn't just changing her life, it's transforming her family's entire world. Sarah Matthews' story ripples far beyond the walls of Oxbridge Academy, touching hearts and inspiring change across the educational community. As students share videos and photos of the emotional SUV presentation on social media, her story catches fire, resonating with people who recognize the unsung heroes in their own schools. Parents begin writing heartfelt letters to their children's teachers, acknowledging years of dedication that had gone unspoken. The impact grows as local news stations pick up the story, featuring interviews with students who share how Mrs. Matthews transformed their understanding of mathematics and life itself. Other schools start creating their own recognition programs, determined to celebrate the educators who pour their hearts into shaping young minds. The movement spreads like wildfire, with teachers across the country receiving unexpected tokens of appreciation from their communities. What began as one student's gesture of gratitude transforms into a nationwide conversation about the value of educators. Social media fills with "thank a teacher" stories, each one echoing the sentiment that started at Oxbridge Academy. Former students reach out to their old teachers, sharing how their influence continues to shape their lives years later. The ripple effect touches not just teachers, but all educational staff, from librarians to counselors, creating a wave of recognition for every person who makes schools more than just buildings with classrooms. Sarah's story becomes a powerful reminder that sometimes the most profound impact comes from those who expect nothing in return. Her tale inspires a new generation to look beyond the obvious, to recognize the quiet heroes who shape their world through daily acts of dedication and love. As one student puts it in a viral post, Mrs. Matthews didn't just teach us math, she taught us how to see the extraordinary in the ordinary and how to make sure no act of kindness goes unnoticed. As the sun sets on another school day at Oxbridge Academy, Sarah Matthews sits quietly in her new silver SUV, her hands resting gently on the steering wheel. The empty parking lot provides a moment of peaceful reflection, a stark contrast to the emotional whirlwind of the surprise assembly. Through the windshield, she watches the last rays of sunlight dance across the school building, where she's poured her heart and soul into shaping young minds. This gift, she realizes, represents far more than just reliable transportation. Each feature of the SUV tells a story. The spacious interior reminds her of the countless students she's tutored during lunch breaks. The smooth engine hum echoes the steady dedication she's shown day after day, and the gleaming silver paint reflects the brightness she's tried to bring into her students' lives, even after losing her husband. Sarah's thoughts drift to the faces in the assembly, each one a testament to the connections she's forged through patience, understanding, and unwavering support. The car keys in her hand feel like a key to something greater. Recognition that her countless hours of dedication, her sacrifices, and her belief in every student's potential haven't gone unnoticed. As she finally turns the key in the ignition, Sarah understands that her greatest lesson wasn't taught through mathematics, but through living example, showing her students that true success isn't measured by what you receive, but by what you give to others. In this quiet moment, surrounded by the tangible proof of her community's gratitude, she realizes that sometimes the most profound teaching happens not through words, but through the silent example of dedication, resilience, and unconditional care for others. As we close this heartwarming story of Sarah Matthews, let's pause and reflect on the profound impact one observant student had on a dedicated teacher's life. In the quiet halls of Oxbridge Academy, a simple act of noticing led to an extraordinary moment of community gratitude. Sarah's story reminds us that behind every lesson plan, every after-school tutoring session, and every encouraging word, there's a teacher pouring their heart into shaping future generations. This isn't just a tale about a new SUV, it's about recognizing the quiet heroes who shape our world every single day. From the mathematics equations to life lessons, Sarah Matthews represents thousands of teachers who give their all, expecting nothing in return. Her story shows us that when we open our eyes to the dedication around us, we have the power to transform lives in ways we never imagined. Now, I want you to think about the Sarah Matthews in your life. Who's that special teacher who goes above and beyond? The one who stays late, arrives early, and never stops believing in their students? Maybe it's time to show them they're noticed, appreciated, and valued. If this story touched your heart and opened your eyes to the unsung heroes in your community, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Together, we can create a wave of gratitude that transforms our schools, one act of kindness at a time. Remember, recognition isn't just about grand gestures. Sometimes a simple thank you can light up someone's entire world. Let's make sure no teacher ever feels invisible again. Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell to join our community of gratitude warriors. Together, we can make sure that no act of kindness goes unnoticed and no teacher feels unappreciated ever again.